Have you ever felt stuck, you know? Like in a life that just doesn't feel right? Like your dreams are out of reach. Like you're living someone else's life instead of the one you truly desire.
Yeah.
It's a feeling that's surprisingly common. And today we're diving deep into a way to break free and create the life you've always dreamed of.
Oh, okay.
To help us navigate this, we have someone who's incredibly knowledgeable about the teachings of Neville Goddard,
Right.
a mid-20th century mystic who had some radical ideas about the power of our minds to shape our reality.
Interesting.
Welcome to the Deep Dives, where we explore the power of visualization to manifest your desires,
Okay.
based on Goddard's profound insights.
Thanks for having me. Goddard's teachings can be pretty mind-bending at first, but once you understand the core principles, they can be incredibly empowering.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. What's the foundation of Goddard's teachings?
Well, one of Goddard's central concepts is that the world is imaginal, meaning it's a product of our imagination. Now, this isn't just about daydreaming or wishing for things to be different. It's about understanding that our thoughts and feelings literally create our reality.
Wow, that's a pretty bold statement. Can you give us an example of what this means in practice?
Absolutely. Goddard often tells the story of a woman who had all of her furniture stolen. Instead of focusing on the loss and feeling despair, she vividly imagined her furniture back in her apartment, exactly where it belonged. She engaged all of her senses in this visualization, feeling the textures of the fabrics, smelling the familiar scents of her home. And you know what? A few days later, the police recovered all of her stolen furniture and returned it to her apartment, exactly as she had imagined it.
That's an incredible story, but how does that actually work? How can simply imagining something make it real?
Goddard believed that our imagination is the creative force of the universe. He saw the world as a mirror, reflecting back the images we hold in our minds. So the more we focus on a particular thought or feeling, the more we attract experiences that align with that energy.
So it's not just about thinking about what we want, but really feeling the reality of it.
You got it. Goddard emphasized the importance of feeling the reality of our desires, rather than just thinking about them. It's like that old saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Our feelings are powerful magnets, drawing to us experiences that resonate with our dominant emotional state.
That makes a lot of sense. So where does desire fit into all of this?
Desire is actually the driving force of creation, according to Goddard. He believed that we shouldn't try to suppress our desires, but rather harness their energy.
Okay.
He saw desire as the spark that ignites the process of manifestation.
That's so different from what we're often told.
Yeah.
Right? We're often told to be content with what we have and not to want more.
Exactly. But Goddard saw desire as a natural and healthy part of being human.
Right.
It's what drives us to create, to grow, and to evolve. The key is to channel that desire into something constructive, something that will truly bring us joy and fulfillment.
Okay, so we have this desire, this burning yearning for something more. How do we actually make it real? How do we bridge the gap between where we are now and where we want to be?
That's where the principle of assumption comes in. Goddard believed that acting as if our desires are already fulfilled is key to manifesting them.
So it's not about waiting for things to change. It's about shifting our internal reality to match our desired outcome.
Precisely. It's about living from the end, so to speak. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, you start acting as if you already are successful. You start thinking the thoughts, feeling the feelings, and taking the actions of a successful person.
I see. So it's not just about visualizing the end goal. It's about embodying the entire experience, even before it manifests in the physical world.
You got it. And that's a really key distinction that a lot of people miss.
Right.
It's not enough to just have a vision board. You have to really step into that reality in your mind and in your heart.
This is all starting to click for me, but where does all of this manifestation actually take place?
Goddard believed that the subconscious mind is the womb of creation. He said that we need to consciously impress our desires upon the subconscious through repeated, vivid visualizations.
So it's like planting a seed in the garden of our mind, and then nurturing it with our attention and intention.
That's a great analogy. And just as a seed needs time and the right conditions to grow, our visualizations need to be nurtured with feeling and consistent attention. We need to water them with our faith and belief, and we need to protect them from the weeds of doubt and fear.
That makes perfect sense. So it's not just about the initial visualization. It's about the ongoing cultivation of that desire, that feeling of already having it.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing process, a journey of aligning our thoughts, feelings, and actions with our desired reality. But that doesn't mean it has to be hard work.
Right.
In fact, when we're truly aligned with our desires, it feels effortless and joyful.
This is so fascinating. But what about those times when we have negative experiences from the past that keep creeping back into our minds? How do we deal with those?
That's where Goddard's concept of revision comes in.
Revision. Can you explain that a little more?
Revision is the art of consciously rewriting our past experiences in our imagination. He believed that the past isn't set in stone, but rather exists as a collection of impressions in our subconscious mind. And just as we can edit a film or rewrite a story, we can use our imagination to revise those impressions.
So it's not about denying or forgetting the past, but rather about reinterpreting it in a way that empowers us in the present.
Exactly. We can literally change the emotional charge associated with those memories by revising them in our imagination.
That's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
But can you give us an example of how we might use revision in our own lives?
Sure. Let's say you had a job interview that didn't go well. Instead of dwelling on those negative feelings of inadequacy or disappointment, you could use revision to reimagine the entire experience. You could see yourself walking into that interview room with confidence and poise. You could hear yourself answering the questions with clarity and intelligence. And most importantly, you could feel the sense of satisfaction and accomplishment, as if you already knew you had nailed the interview.
Wow, I love that. It's like giving ourselves a do-over, but on a mental and emotional level. And by doing that, we're actually changing the way those past experiences affect us in the present.
Exactly. It's like removing a thorn from your foot. The wound might still be there, but once the thorn is gone, it no longer causes pain.
So revision is a powerful tool for healing old wounds and shifting our perspective on challenging experiences.
It is. And it can also be used to amplify positive experiences. Let's say you had a wonderful day. Maybe you closed a big deal, received an unexpected gift, or simply felt incredibly joyful and content.
I'll take it.
Right? Who wouldn't? So instead of letting that feeling fade, you can use revision to relive that experience in your imagination, intensifying the positive emotions associated with it.
So by savoring those good feelings and imprinting them more deeply in our minds, we're actually increasing the likelihood of attracting more positive experiences into our lives.
Precisely. It's all about creating a positive feedback loop where our thoughts and feelings create our reality. And our reality, in turn, reinforces our thoughts and feelings. And that's where the real magic starts to happen.
This is so inspiring. But we've covered a lot of ground already. Before we move on to the next part, can you give us a quick recap of the key principles we've discussed so far?
Absolutely. We started by talking about Goddard's central concept that the world is imaginal, meaning that our reality is a product of our imagination. We then explored the importance of feeling the reality of our desires, rather than just thinking about them. And finally, we talked about the power of assumption, where we act as if our desires are already fulfilled, and revision, where we consciously rewrite our past experiences in a way that empowers us in the present.
That was a fantastic summary. There's definitely a lot to digest. But it's so empowering to think that we have the power to shape our own reality. I'm really excited to continue this deep dive and explore how we can use these principles to create the lives we truly desire. But for now, we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back to continue our exploration of Neville Goddard's teachings. Welcome back. We just explored some of Neville Goddard's core principles, how our imagination shapes reality, the power of feeling, and how we can revise past experiences. Now, I'm curious about how we can actually use these techniques to manifest our desires. Let's say I'm feeling stuck in a rut at work and longing for a more fulfilling career. Where do I even begin?
That's a great example, and you've already hit on a crucial first step, recognizing that feeling of being stuck.
Okay.
Goddard would say you're experiencing a contrast, a dissatisfaction with your current reality, which is actually a powerful starting point. It means you're ready for a change, and that desire itself is a seed waiting to be nurtured.
So instead of feeling bad about being stuck,
Right.
I should see it as a sign that I'm ready to create something new.
Exactly. That dissatisfaction is energy. It's fuel for the fire of your imagination. Now, going back to the principle of assumption,
Okay.
how do you think you'd feel if you were already working in that dream career?
Well, I imagine I'd feel excited to wake up each morning, passionate about the work I'm doing, and confident in my abilities. Probably a lot less stress, too.
That's perfect. You're tapping into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now, the key is to cultivate that feeling as often as possible, even though you haven't physically changed jobs yet.
Right.
Goddard suggests mentally stepping into that desired reality as vividly as you can.
So it's not just about picturing myself in a new office, but really feeling the emotions as if it's already happening.
Yes. Engage all your senses. Imagine the conversations you'd be having, the projects you'd be working on, even the commute. If it's a positive one, the more real you make it feel, the more you're impressing it upon your subconscious mind, which Goddard believed was the key to bringing it into being.
Okay, so I'm walking into this amazing new office, feeling confident and excited. But a part of me is still stuck on the how. How will this new career actually come about? Won't I need to take practical steps, like updating my resume or networking?
Absolutely. And this is where a lot of people get tripped up. They think that manifesting means sitting back and waiting for their desires to magically fall into their lap.
Right.
But action is crucial.
So how do we balance this inner work of visualization and feeling with the outer work of taking action?
Goddard would say that the inner work is what creates the outer circumstances.
Okay.
As you cultivate that feeling of already having your dream career, you'll naturally start to notice opportunities you hadn't seen before. Maybe you stumble upon a job posting that perfectly aligns with your vision, or you feel inspired to reach out to someone in your network. You'll be guided almost intuitively towards the actions that support your desire.
So it's not that the practical steps aren't important. It's just that they flow more organically when we're aligned with our desired reality on an inner level.
That's a great way to put it. Think of it like this. If you plant a seed in fertile soil and water it regularly, it will naturally sprout and grow. But if you plant that same seed in dry, hard ground, it will struggle to take root, your inner work. The visualization, the feeling, the assumption is what creates the fertile ground for your desires to manifest.
This is making so much sense.
Yeah.
But what about those times when doubt creeps in?
Yeah.
Like, what if I start visualizing my dream career, but then I think, yeah, right, like, that's ever going to happen?
Yeah.
What do I do with that self-doubt?
Self-doubt is like a weed that can choke the seeds of our desires. Everyone experiences it. And Goddard offered a powerful tool to combat it: gratitude.
Gratitude.
He said, feeling grateful is the way to all that you desire.
So instead of focusing on what I lack, I should shift my attention to what I already have to be grateful for.
Precisely. When you feel grateful for the good things in your life, your health, your loved ones, even the simple things like a sunny day, it shifts your energy from a state of lack to a state of abundance. And that shift makes all the difference when it comes to manifesting.
I can see how that works. Gratitude helps us to feel more positive and optimistic, which naturally opens us up to receiving more good things. It's like we're sending a message to the universe that says, hey, we appreciate what you've given us, and we're open to receiving more.
Exactly. And you can incorporate gratitude into your visualization practice as you're imagining yourself in your dream career. Also take a moment to feel grateful for the skills and experiences that have led you to this point, even if they don't seem directly related.
It's about recognizing the good that's already present in our lives, which then creates a fertile ground for more good to come in.
You got it. And you know, another powerful tool Goddard recommends for manifesting is creating a vision board.
Oh, I love vision boards. I find it so inspiring to collect images and words that represent my goals and dreams, and then arrange them in a way that really speaks to me.
Vision boards are amazing. They're like a tangible representation of your desires, a visual reminder of what you're working towards. And the act of creating a vision board is itself a form of manifestation. It's about taking those desires out of your head and putting them out into the world.
It's like we're giving those desires a physical form,
Yeah.
a space to exist outside of our imagination. And then every time we look at that vision board, we're reinforcing those desires, those feelings, those intentions.
Exactly. It's a powerful way to keep your dreams front and center in your mind, especially when doubt or distractions start to creep in.
So between visualizing, feeling, assuming, practicing gratitude, and creating vision boards, we have a whole toolbox of techniques for manifesting our desire.
We do. And the beauty of it is that you can choose the tools that resonate with you the most, and use them in a way that feels authentic and empowering.
This is all so incredibly inspiring. It really feels like we have the power to create the lives we want, not just passively wait for things to happen.
That's the essence of Goddard's teachings. It's a radical shift in perspective, but one that holds immense potential for personal transformation.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive into Neville Goddard's teachings. I'm already starting to see the world in a new light. And I feel a renewed sense of possibility and excitement for what the future holds.
We're back. And you know, this deep dive, it's been a real mind-opener. We've covered so much ground, from the world being a product of our imagination, to the power of feeling and gratitude, even how to actively revise the past.
It's a lot.
But before we wrap up, I'd love to explore one more idea that's been really intriguing me, this concept of the Sabbath and mental rest in the context of manifestation.
That's a great one to unpack. it might seem a bit counterintuitive. We're talking about creating our dream lives, so shouldn't we be actively working towards that all the time?
Yeah.
But Goddard believed that rest is just as important as action when it comes to manifesting.
So it's not about constantly visualizing and affirming our desires 24/7.
Not at all. He used the analogy of a farmer planting seeds. You wouldn't dig up the seeds every day to see if they're sprouting right.
You have to trust the natural process of growth. Allow them time to germinate beneath the surface. It's the same with our desires.
Right.
We've planted the seeds through our visualization and feeling, and now we need to give them space to take root in the subconscious mind.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the importance of patience and trust in the manifestation process. We can't force things to happen.
Right.
We have to allow them to unfold in their own time.
Exactly. And that's where the Sabbath comes in.
Boy.
It's not just about taking a day off from work. It's about taking a break from the constant mental chatter, the worry, the doubt, the overthinking. It's about creating space for stillness and receptivity.
So how can we practically incorporate this idea of mental rest into our lives?
Well, it could be as simple as dedicating a few minutes each day to quiet contemplation or meditation. Maybe you go for a walk in nature, listen to calming music, or simply sit in silence and focus on your breath. The key is to disengage from the act of doing and allow yourself to just be.
It sounds like this mental rest allows our conscious impressions, those desires we've been visualizing and feeling, to sink deeper into our subconscious mind, where they can begin to take shape and influence our reality.
Precisely. It's like giving those seeds the darkness and stillness they need to germinate and sprout. And when we emerge from that state of mental rest, we're often surprised by new insights, ideas, and opportunities that seem to appear out of thin air.
It's like the universe has been working behind the scenes while we were resting. This whole conversation has been so incredibly empowering. It's like we've been given this secret roadmap to creating the lives we've always dreamed.
That's what's so beautiful about Goddard's teachings. It's not about magic.
Right.
It's about understanding the power of our own minds and learning to use that power consciously and deliberately.
It's about recognizing that we're not just passive recipients of fate, but active creators of our own reality.
Yeah.
And that's a truly liberating realization.
It is. And as you continue to explore these principles and experiment with the techniques,
Yeah.
you'll likely find yourself amazed by the incredible power you hold within.
This has been such an incredible deep dive into the world of Neville Goddard.
It has.
I feel like I've not only gained a deeper understanding of his teachings, but also a renewed sense of hope and excitement for what's possible in my own life.
It's been my pleasure to share these insights with you. Remember, the world truly is your canvas, and you are the artist.
What a beautiful way to put it. So for anyone listening, feeling inspired to create their dream life, what's the one piece of advice you would leave them with?
I think Goddard said it best. The world is yourself pushed out. So ask yourself what you want. Imagine the feeling of already having it, and remain faithful to that feeling. Trust in the power of your imagination and watch your dreams unfold.
Powerful words to live by. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Neville Goddard. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep imagining, and keep creating the life you desire.